Oh yeah, sexy biscuits. Nice.
Long was 1975. A YouTuber is on the rise. Reviewing games late at night and sometimes friends. But Long was 1975.
Hey YouTube, Long Voice Post 1975 and welcome to the Wednesday vlog. Yeah, you read the title, this is a big one, this is a really big deal. I've been thinking about this list since since last week, and it's taken ages, and it's weird because I suggest you try this. You always think you have a list of what your favourite games are for your favourite systems. You think it'd be really easy to pin it down. There will always be some that are super easy and immediately fall into place, as they did with this list. But then there was some that you always thought would be in there, but then you start thinking about, you know, the evolution of the console and sort of franchises and the subtle changes and evolutions of specific games, and your favourite game may not be what's considered the best in the series, if that makes sense, because certain things like the effects it had on you, the leap above the previous game and things like that. I'm waffling, but you know what I mean. Yeah, so I sincerely, you know, suggest you try it, because when you, like I said, are forced to try and, you know, pen it down, they're always like, you know, and the more so on this list than all the other ones I've done so far, and I'm determined to, you know, finish my consoles. I might have to take a break for a bit because these videos are so intensive. But they are super fun to make, which is why I carried on doing it. But yeah, like I said, do it for yourself, and you might be surprised about what actually ends up in there and for what reasons. Now, PlayStation 1 for a lot of us is a very important console, and probably one of our, you know, most important consoles because of its leap in power above after the prior generations, and the fact that we really were truly promised, you know, arcade perfection at home, and the leap in the arcades to this all new crazy thing at the time that we thought would never take off or last, which is 3D. Much like many other times, I found out about PlayStation, you know, in a magazine. I think it was probably a Edge or a variant of CVG or something like that, and it was just, wait, what? Sony are entering the console market? You know, we know what our history and the bitching between them and Nintendo, how they fell out, and then just as well, we would never have the PlayStation. But can you imagine what that Nintendo console would have been like with the, you know, CD drive by Sony? Anyway, that's by the way, because it never happened. But yeah, finding out that there was this, you know, battle between them, and then they were going to enter the market. And I think I, much like most people, was incredibly skeptical at the time, because it's like, well, what do you know, Sony? You make TVs and stereos. How wrong we were. So I became aware of it, absolutely wanted to have it, found out once again that we were going to get it in, what did we get it in the UK in the end, 95, and what was it? This is hard for me to remember. When it was on the back of the box, was it 2004 in Japan? Never mind, this will make sense in a minute. Yeah, I saw a black and white advert. Some guy who was at the end of Gloucester Road, which is a fair old trek for me back then, particularly since it was before sat-nav and we had to use something called a map. Do you remember that? Maps. And I found his house, and I went there for a PlayStation, but he also had a Sega Saturn, and he was playing Daytona at the same time, and he was selling that as well, but I phoned up for the PlayStation. 450 quid, mind, it cost me then. 450 quid. This is its original box. I still have it somewhere. I love the Japanese box, it's so much better than the UK one. Just look at it, just saucy. I still have a PlayStation somewhere, and it's cheap, so I really would like to find it. But yeah, I remember looking at it and just going, oh my god, it's Daytona, I want to play it. And he just went, no, hang on. And he showed me Ridge Racer, and I think you could hear my jaw hitting the floor all the way across the 7S Street. I was just like, holy shit, take my £450, please just take it off me. Punch me in the balls if you want, but I have to have it. And I had one game. I had Cyber Sled, which was a Namco arcade game. It wasn't terrible, it wasn't brilliant, but it was the only game I had for a while. And I played the shit out of it. You know, showed this system off to my mates, and they were like, what the fuck is this? I don't even know what this is. I went, that's my PlayStation. And what was it, Dave? £100. Yeah, don't tell anyone. But I loved it. The PlayStation Japanese one had slightly 1/3 smaller pads, and the leads were really short as well. Plus, I learned that you could disc swap on it. but I wouldn't recommend. You put blue tack in the hole at the back where the arm came out from the tray, and then you would put like a Japanese game in, wait for it to hit the black screen, whip it out and whip in your UK game, and it would boot. Yeah, I did eventually chip it, but I do remember, and this is when it got really, really, really pricey. I had a job in St. George at the time, and over the road from the office of this building firm, you know, like renovation firm, there was this shop that had Japanese consoles imported. It's the first time I saw a Neo Geo CD. I saw a Japanese Saturn in this, there. It's, you know, it's glorious proper colour, and they had PlayStation 1 games. I almost said 2 then, and that's why I used to buy my games initially. And I think the first game I bought was after, you know, the one Soulcalibur that came with it was Battle Arena Toshinden, which didn't make it into this list, but it did blow my mind and all my mates' minds, and we sank so much, you know, money, time is money, into that game. Then I bought Motor 2 GP, which was still got original that somewhere, which was shit, but you know, it was just easier than mail ordering these games, and they were like, I don't know, what were they, like £65-70 each? They were through the roof. And then we went up to, I always used to go up to London, you know, at Christmas to do like just walk down and experience the Christmas feeling. And Virgin Megastore used to import Japanese games. And I forget what game I had. Oh, I had the original Tekken. So, oh, my life was wasted on that. But you know, I absolutely loved and adored it. And then obviously time moved on and games came out in the UK where initially they were shit bordered. You know, PAL games, heavily bordered, ran slower. But you know, I had the option of going both importing American games, because at this point I had a chip, importing Japanese games, and prices had come down now, or buying UK ones if I was super lazy. You could rent them from Blockbuster. I remember renting Street Fighter the movie and taking it back pretty much the same day, although ironically I think I did end up buying it. Those were really, really great times. And then there was official PlayStation magazine, which was when you were broke. That's where you got games. You get a demo disc with like 5 one-playable levels of PlayStation 1 games, you know, and like little tutorial and sometimes homebrew games and stuff like that, and things to play music to and make your screen go all squirrely. And you used to rinse and repeat the shit out of it. But you know, I talk about favourite systems, the Spectrum's still up there, you know, #1, but the PlayStation, just for this leap, you know, it is really, really wonderful, you know, important system in my life. And yes, some of the 3D games haven't aged so great now. Lots of other games on it have. Some are in this list, but there's no denying at the time this 3D blew our heads off. So, yeah, like I said, quite weird when I wrote this list about what ones made it in and what didn't. So, let's crack into it. Number 10. Crash Bandicoot. Right, I still think this looks really, really sort of good. It's a little bit jaggy, a little bit rough around the edges, but you know, what are you going to do? Right, so what are the controls? I haven't played this in like forever. Jump. Spin. Oh my god, you can tell that I love first-person shooters. I was looking for a sprint button. Right, so smashy, smashy. Ooh, extra life right at the start. That's either because they're being generous or this game is balls hard. Right, so I'm assuming standard platformer fair I can jump on you, right? Hey! Nice. You know what I love about this game is the sound. It's kind of 50s sort of Warner Bros. Cartoons. I really like it. Right, jump. Question mark. I don't know about you, right, but if I was in real life and I saw a box on the floor with a question mark, I'd probably avoid it. Right. Hey! Apples. Gotta get you 1 in 5 a day. I still have my original of this, and it's actually a PAL UK one. What's not to love about it? I think at the time people slated it because they were saying, it's Sony's attempt, or Naughty Dog's attempt to jump on the 3D platforming bandwagon, like, I'll catch up with Mario 64, and it never was. It prides itself on being a linear game, and that's what I liked about it. It was just an old school platformer reimagined, you know, in a new way. It was brilliant, brilliant visuals, still look lovely today, which were enhanced by the fact that it was so linear. You had great sense of humour, wonderful sound effects, great music, really, really tight controls, just an absolute joy to play, and really, really is a stunner. I don't know, it's just a game that, it's just one of those games that sometimes you play something and you can't even quite put your finger on it, but the penny drops and you just absolutely love and adore it. You know, I think more so there are other games in the Crash Bandicoot series. 2 was notable, but none of them hold a fart to this. This to this day forever will be, you know, my favourite Crash Bandicoot game. That said, I would like to see a new one. Now, yeah, Ridge Racer Type 4. Ooh, yeah, we'll get to another Ridge Racer. This is my number 9. Let's try drift. Oh, sexy motherfucker. Look at that cool plane, mind. Yeah, I mean, it's... Oh, shit. Talking and playing. Face planter wall every time. It's never going to compete with Gran Turismo, even when Gran Turismo, sorry, can't talk even, does full-on sort of, you know, arcade. It's never going to compete with that. This is very much a sort of, you know, I guess it's the plug and play of driving games, but there's something so satisfying about drifting in a Ridge Racer game. Oh, hang on. Even like then, when it was accidental. Right, 508, come on. Now this game was playing catch-up at this point. Ridge Racer had always been an arcadey, you know, sort of series. I had all of them. I loved all of them. Some more than others, as I said. We'll get to that. But it was playing catch-up to Gran Turismo at this point, wasn't it? But it didn't obviously want to drop off what was the essence of it, and that's why I like it. It's the perfect balance between customization, had that nice shiny effect. You could connect PlayStations up and have, what was it, 2 people on one screen on one PlayStation, 2 people on another screen on another PlayStation. It's been ages since I did that, but I'm pretty sure that's what we did. It was also like, I backed the big TV, oh, I got the portable. But yeah, it was graphically stunning. The music was amazing. I mean, it really was graphically stunning, amazing controls. But then you had this level of customization. I think, you know, when this came out, it was to me because I love Gran Turismo, but I love Ridge Racer, and it was just this awesome experience where they met in the middle and proved that, you know, genres could coexist, but could also cross over at some points, if that makes sense. And also, it came with a version of Ridge Racer. I don't know if you got all the tracks or just one track. I can't remember because I had the Japanese one. And you actually got to play the original Ridge Racer, or at least the original track, you know, correct me by all means, in 60 frames a second. What a nice little bonus. Right, number 8, Die Hard Trilogy. I don't remember these controls. Right, left, being this clunky. Have I got handbrake? Oh, I've got horn. Hey! Oh, I've got turbo. Yeah, get some of that. Sweet. Right. Oh, I carried my turbo over. Have I got reverse? Oh, this is terrible. Right, screw it. I need, what's that? Oh, you can pick up shit, can you? I know there's a ton of cheat codes for this game. Really cool stuff. Oh. Oh, reverse is on the D-pad. That's horrific. Just turbo, I'm running out of time. How the hell I made it for that, I don't know. Sweet music. Adored this game. You could argue, and it was really well received. Shame about the sequel. Oh, I felt so let down. It proves that a game is more than the sum of its parts, because it's 3 games. I won't say mini games, because each game is, you know, fully realised, you know, game containing many levels. But so you get like a third person, not so much over the shoulder, but the first film, which is, you know, Nakatomi Plaza, third person shooter going up your way through the levels. Not amazingly strong game, but it was part of a package. There is someone who absolutely loves Die Hard, and even so back then, you know, I bought the one that came with a Predator gun, which you could actually, it actually had dual lead, so you could plug it into a Saturn or plug it into a PlayStation. So I used to dual wield with it on the Saturn with that and my brother's actual Sega gun on Virtua Cop. I basically could do fuck all with my left hand because I couldn't aim for shit, but it felt John Wish. Anyway, yeah, so the first level's the weakest level, but it's really strong and fun. And the second level is kind of Virtua, you know, cop level, where you go through the airport stage, and you know, shooting bad guys. It's amazing, like the weapons and stuff like that. Visually, you know, not up there with Virtua Cop, but again, as I say, some of its parts, this, you know, compilation, because this game had loads of levels. Also had this really, which I used to play for hours, so difficult to do, this really cool customization thing where you could physically change or edit your route through the level, but you have to, you know, make some effort, otherwise you'd suddenly go into a room and be facing the wrong way and your back would just be raped by lead. But no, that's probably my favourite, you know, game in this pack. But then, it's like I said, it's a really solid shooter. You could play it with a control pad, and it's just as fun and good with a control pad. Then the third one, which you could argue is almost a precursor to somewhat an open world akin to the driving section in the original, you know, Grand Theft Auto on the PlayStation 2. But yeah, it was mission based on the taxi section from the movie, but it was intense. It was so intense, having to get the bombs before they went off with a really tight limit, following an arrow, but you could take other routes. And it was loaded with cheats and customizations. You could turn the other cars into fucking UFOs and shit. I love that game. Like I said, on their own, each of those games certainly wouldn't have made it into they'd be budget games, but as a package, you know, it was unheard of at the time to do a game like that, which is, here you go, these are 3 independent games, not levels, 3 independent games comprising of different levels in one pack. Good times. Now, I said I'd get back to it. Number 7, Ridge Racer.
No way, man, it's kind of iconic, that screen there. I gotta say, I still think it's kind of very, very impressive, you know. Apparently my car's got no fucking bollocks whatsoever. What am I driving, a fucking Prius? Yeah, that's really, really impressive. Ooh, bunching up. Inside, can I? Oh, you bastard, I haven't got no claims, leave me alone. I'm finding this actually quite cut between intense. I'm absolutely terrified to stare at the top of the screen to check my progress or my map or my position, because I'm just scared that I'm just going to plough face long into something.
Now obviously it was a launch game, and I did see it, as I mentioned at the start of this video, when I bought my import PlayStation. I saw it in the arcade, and it was one of those life-changing moments. Well, I say life-changing in the sense of, you know, video game changing your life. And right, don't mean to start hate wars here, but there's clearly obvious that this version was ported to the PlayStation far better than the Daytona version was ported to the Saturn. Yeah, they did get around to fixing that. But this was one of those moments, why it's made it in here ahead of Type 4 is the sheer impact this had when I got to play it, you know, at home. We used to put a bass speaker under the chair, and you could always watch people. It's the first time I saw driving games do this, where people would be like leaning like this. They couldn't help themselves. Great party game, you know, pass the pad around. But it really was the impact it had, because it looked fantastic in the arcade, and at least to your eyes back then, you know, when you got home, if you had a massive TV, you were hard pushed to tell the difference. Obviously we can now, but it was just one of those examples. Every, you know, prior generation had a game that tooted to be arcade perfect, and yes, this wasn't, but it was that moment where you suddenly just went, we have reached a whole new point of something else here. Oh, that was just like I said. It's the impact this game had on me, and the fact that it's also a solid, amazing game. Number 6, Aliens Trilogy.
I like to keep this around for close encounters. See what I quoted there. So what? Can I shoot the barrels? Or I can hit shit again. I have to say it is actually quite sort of nerve-wracking. Whoa. Yeah. Know your place. Oh, I can hear more shit. Whew. Tense. Right, before I blow the shit out of you, let's see what's down here. More important is see where I am.
Now, I'm guessing this was after Die Hard Trilogy, don't quote me on that, following on from the success, or was that after this following on the success, because it was another Fox game? And it did what it did with Die Hard Trilogy, which is took the then, and what I still consider to be the 3, you know, what I recognise as proper Alien movies, took them and turned them into 3 different games, all first-person shooter, and unlike Die Hard Trilogy, mainly because it was probably the same game engine, there was no noticeable difference in quality between the 3, you know, games. But so you start off in Aliens. Again, being a massive Aliens fan, it was just, you know, it was absolutely fantastic. Excuse me, windy pops. Was a fan, but there's no denying it was broken. Aliens versus Predator on the Atari Jaguar. But this was, to me, at least then, the definitive Aliens game. I remember when I first got it, and I got it on a bank holiday weekend, so I just immediately went over to my mate Sam's house at like lunchtime, and we came to shit out of it till about 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm pretty sure we beat all all the individual games and just had so much fun because he was a massive Aliens fan as well. But it was tense. You know, it was so atmospheric. It was difficult, but the challenge level was just about right. There were so many great moments from the movie, like when you, I was going to say spoilers, but you haven't played this by now. Shame on you. Yeah, you know, when you saw the Queen and all the eggs were around and stuff like that, and it's just, even though it was Sprite and like Doom, you know, based, it was just absolutely fantastic. I mean, as an Aliens fan, it just blew me away, and that's why this was an absolute no-brainer that got into this list. Number 5. Yeah, only 2 beat 'em ups made it into this list, and not any of them is Street Fighter. Yeah, so the first one is number 5, Marvel Superheroes.
Yes, I'm in hell. And I don't mean downtown Bristol. So it's not every day you get to say, you know, what'd you do today at the office, honey? Oh, I went to hell and I fought a demon. Right, I think, ouch, that hurt. The deal with the Infinity Gems and stuff is kind of like your rage bar in Street Fighter 2, although as I said, it's been a while. Hey, stay still and get punched, you prick. There you go. Yep. Hell ain't got shit on me.
Obviously, it's a very, very, you know, heavily influenced Street Fighter game. It's Capcom, comes out after Children of the Atom. I mean, it's weird because you would have, probably people would have expected that Alpha 2 or Alpha 3 to be in it because I adored those games and, you know, sank a lot of my life and time into them. They're in the, this would be another interesting list. They're in, you know, the list from 11 to 20 because it's so close. When you get to the top of, you know, your favourite games and trying to pin it down, it becomes so close. So Alpha 2 and 3 are in there, but why I love this more than them is, I mean, it controls as tight as them and it's visually stunning, but it's Marvel Superheroes. I mean, I'm a massive comic book fan, and this was at the pinnacle of my comic book collecting, which was always Marvel based, and I was a huge Spider-Man fan at this point, as well as X-Men, and you could argue that they're the predominant characters in this. And getting to play Spider-Man in a fighting game that, you know, controlled like Street Fighter, you know, Alpha, with those amazing cartoon graphics, was just absolutely phenomenal. I adored it. I adored it, like I said, more than the Alpha games. My mates weren't so into it as much as me. They preferred the Alpha games, but then that comes down to the fact that it's your influences, isn't it, on your personality, you as an individual at the time, reflect in your favourite games, and that's why Marvel Superheroes made it in here. Brilliant game. Amazing graphics, amazing music, you know, so comic booky as you would expect and hope, but just a fantastic fighting game. This is a really big surprise. Number 4. Yeah, this is going to be probably a big surprise. Was a big surprise to me. Like I said, try and write a list yourself and you'll understand why these things happen. First of all, oh look, change the background, change of SD card. Yeah, I'm not very well, you know, prepared at forward planning, but yeah. Number 4 is Soulcalibur.
Oh, I have got kick. Bye! And also you can ring out in this. That sounded like prison talk. You know what I mean. Kick them out of the ring. Right. I mean, it's aged terribly as you would expect, but the memories come flooding back and, oh, that looks nice, if a little bit pink. I feel like I'm fighting in the fucking body shop. That's really nice. Ironically, in Soul Blade or Calibur 4, you did actually have lightsabers. Sweet. Oh, that's an uppercut, isn't it, in sword form? Right, oh, can I have you do that jump in the air and stab them shit? My mate used to say, like, no, we have gentleman's rules, you can't do it. That's, you can't hit someone on the floor, it's cheating. To which I always said, oh, bollocks, is it? If it's in the rule, you know, sorry, in the mechanics of the game, then I'm bloody doing it. You don't like it? Play a different game.
You know, or Soul Edge. Soul Edge was the first version I played. The version you just saw a clip off is from Soulcalibur. It's weird because I always thought that I loved Tekken 3 and Tekken 2, and I really did, and they are, like I said, they're just outside of this top 10 list. But every now and then a game comes along that just completely blows you out of the water. And a game that, you know, sorry, something I've always wanted from fighting games, going way back to the Spectrum days when they attempted to do some of these things, was, you know, a weapon-based combat game, and they never seem to really pull it off. And that's what I love what Namco did with this. Like I said, the UK one is censored. You've got like, well, they're not nunchucks anymore. I don't know what they are, and it's 50 hertz and bordered, but it's still a bloody amazing game. But you know, I fell in love with the Japanese version, Soul Edge, as I said. But amazing backgrounds. You know, the floating stages and stuff where you can kick people off into the water and stuff like that. And it was just a simplified control scheme. Is, you know, what I love most about it, because they took Tekken and they said, right, well, we can't make Tekken, you know, a weapon-based fighting game with Tekken control, so they completely, you know, mixed it up, and it fits so well with so sort of few, and what you would think on paper are limited commands, but they are not. I just love the fact that each character has a different weapon, you know, but they're also balanced in certain areas and not other areas. But if you're a master with every, you know, sort of, you bother to learn your time and do the combos and stuff like that, then you can compete pretty much against everyone. But it's, you know, I mean, I know you get that in Tekken, but to me it really shined with the weapons, but you just get that really unique, you know, an individual being one with, you know, their sword or their nunchucks, you know, and stuff like that. I just think this is, you know, like I said, weird when I wrote this list. Tekken 3 and 2 aren't in here, nor are any of the Street Fighter games, but this is, no, well, my voice went up there like that. This is my number 4 favourite game, and, you know, the only other fighter that made it into my top 10. Right. This is where it gets really tight. These are all no-brainers, but this gets really tight. You're probably going to guess these 3 in some order. Anyway, number 3, Gran Turismo 2.
Nice. Oh, right off the bat, I still think this is a superb looking game. I think it's safe to say if it wasn't for Gran Turismo, driving games were, ooh, look at the side of my ass, that's much better, wouldn't be where they are today. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. I am a fan of the Wanko engine, the rotary engine. Isn't it like only got 3 moving parts or something? But the thing is, what's going to run out first in this race? The oil in my engine or the petrol in my car? Because aren't they very oil thirsty? Which would make sense when you work out how the engine works. I'm playing this in race mode because I don't like drifting when I haven't set the car up myself, but it's very odd. I haven't played it in arcade and on analog and arcade for donkey's years, so I think my race line would be the equivalent of, well, have you been drinking? Nice, come on. It's still a nice looking car, you know. I certainly think it, you know, it was more out there than the RX-8 that followed it, right? But yeah, I sank such a ridiculous amount of my life into this game.
Now, I was blown away by Gran Turismo 1. I absolutely loved it. And again, a phrase you'll hear a lot in this list is, you know, I sank a load of my life into it, as I did with my flatmate at the time. But when Gran Turismo 2 came out, not only did it look better, you know what I mean, was its scope so much bigger. The options, the number of cars, the fact that there was a rally mode, you know, it was all these, you know, little subtle tweaks and stuff like that. And the fact that the first game was already pretty much a nigh on perfect game, and you thought, how can you possibly beat that game? And this came along, you know, and everyone who was doubting it when they saw this in magazines, like, oh, how much better can it be? And well, who wants a rally mode in a Gran Turismo game? Well, we did after we played it. We didn't think we did, but we did, and that was the scope of when they made this. And the fact that it's still, with probably my favourite driving game, still looks absolutely stunning, especially if you play on a PlayStation 2 and fiddle with the driver thingy. But yeah, this really did eat a lot of my life. We used to, and with 3, but more so this, we used to have Gran Turismo Tuesday, where me and my mates who all lived at same locale at the time, used to meet up on a Tuesday night, get some beer and shit, and get some food and shit in, and just play Gran Turismo 2 until we, you know, had to have a reasonable cut off for work the next day. And that was every Tuesday, months and months and months. And we all had insane, you know, cars that we always chose for specific tasks and stuff like that, and very much, well, you could see the individual's personality on the screen in the cars they designed. But yeah, Gran Turismo 2, I don't think there will ever be bold words, don't think there'll ever be a driving game as good or have as big an impact as that did. And yes, that includes the original. Number 2, Resident Evil 2. I mean, look at it. This is why I love it. There's no secluded mansion, you know, somber start. It just, oh fuck, just starts you off as it means to go on. You know, the apocalypse has happened. Welcome to Ramiro Town. Limited bullets, not quite as bad as they were the first time, but you know, it's still incredibly claustrophobic, and I still think it's incredibly good graphics. Ooh, but you still gotta know when to leg it. Leg it! Leg it is your best friend. Shizen. Can't talk and play this for fuck all. No, bollocks! But right, you know, so it's rendered graphics in the background, but it's just awesome. This is what you want from a fucking zombie game. Right, so where's my health? There we go, have I got any? No, not yet. Right, but combine. I mean, it's got tank controls, and you could argue that it's a little bit clunky, but that's what adds to it. Stay away. No, you don't. I mean, it obscures your view and everything, but it just makes it fucking awesome beans. And the loading times. I mean, it's a loading time, but come on, it covers it up in a really really well way. There, it just makes it atmospheric and cool beans. Second favorite game of all time. Period. Second favorite game of all time on the PlayStation. I've told this story so many times, but you know, I wasn't a massive fan of one. I understood what it did, and I did get to play the demo that came with the 1.5 director's cut, but I mean, the voice acting's not that much better in 2, but I don't know, I wasn't a huge fan, but I saw potential. And then you heard that, you know, Romero was going to be involved in the second game, and then didn't he? So he did the commercial in Japan, didn't he? And then the scope was bigger, but then it got completely scrapped. And then when it did finally come out, it came out in the States first. Probably Japan is Biohazard. And I was fortunate enough, didn't do it deliberately, to break my wrist. And it was the weekend, looked so dodgy, before brand new job. And that Sunday, my mate drove me to Clifton because we saw an American copy in the back of the black and whites. You know, I missed the black and whites. And I bought it. And as a massive Romero fan, it did not disappoint. I mean, graphically, so much better than the first one. Controls, super tight, but it was the scope of zombies and the fact that they did draw back the supreme difficulty of the first, which was a little bit too much for my liking, but 2 discs, 2 stories, everything about this game was just an immersive movie. A truly genuine, especially if you did what it said, which was drop the brightness to that line, because none of my mates did. Truly terrifying game in some parts. I mean, I loved it. I caned it through the first weekend, and I was in the house by myself, caned it through the first weekend, and you know, I have all the unlockables. I got Tofu, Hunk, on a memory card somewhere. I wish I knew where it was, especially for what I'm going to talk about the next game. But yeah, I was in a house by myself, and I was playing it for hours without, you know, taking a piss, and I just remember thinking, holy shit, all the lights are off and I'm by myself. And I was genuinely shitted up about going to the bathroom, and I legged it down the landing, you know, not looking at any of the doors either way. And yeah, what can I say about Resident Evil 2? The impact it had. I don't think the series has ever got back to the strengths of this one. I mean, 3 was alright, probably the last great Resident Evil game as far as I'm concerned in this format, but a huge, you know, quality notch beneath this, the absolute dog's bollocks. It didn't make it into my GameCube list, well, mainly because I sold it, but because to me the version to play it the most, enjoy it the most, will always be the PlayStation 1 version, its first home, because again it comes back to something called impact. Right, number 1, no brainer, no surprises, I'm sure. Metal Gear Solid. What can I say about this game? Not only is it my favourite game of all time, it's an absolutely, truly fucking masterpiece. It took games to a whole new level, and when you think about, you know, where they were back then, they were, you know, ambitious games, but this was something else. Graphically phenomenal, cutscenes were absolutely brilliant. I'm rusty as fuck. What are the controls? First person, down, punch. It's all about choking people. But look at it, it still looks absolutely wonderful. Yes, I love the GameCube version, but this still is something else. Get up. I don't even know what hold is. That's hold. Nice. Right, get rid of the body. Walk in the water. Oh, they disappear in this version. I forgot, because they don't in the GameCube version. Shizen. Oh no, it's a light. I panicked. But look at it, it just... Ooh, it's a phenomenal example of when someone has a dream and a vision about how to make a game the fucking dog's bollocks. Oh shit, run away and hide, run away and hide, run away and hide. Don't shoot at me, don't shoot at me, don't shoot at me. There we go. But like I said, you know, I boosted up, but, and the fact, this is a, you know, like a tutorial. oh, he's cleared up and stuff, but the tension is there and the scope for detail is there, and the fact that you can do this. Oh shit, he's there. You can knock on wood to, get their attention. No you don't, no you don't. Look at this. It's fucking Roadrunner. Yay! I'm Wile E. Coyote. Now, what's to say that I can't go into, I mentioned when this was my favourite game on the Game Gear. This actually, I don't know why. I mean, the hype was coming up for this months and months, like a year in advance of the game, and I'd known of the NES version, didn't know it was on the MSX. I knew it was a sprite 2D, basic game, and this was trying to do something completely different, like tactical espionage action, first person, third person, real time. We know now that it was two game engines running simultaneously to kind of trick the actual ideal feeling of real time, but you didn't experience anything like this. There were very few games still this good on that system, and not just today, but when it came out, like everyone was playing catch up for years. Amazing story, amazing voice acting, such scope. Genuinely cared about the characters, all the little spy gadgets and stuff like that. I actually imported the Japanese version first. That's how much I had to get my hands on it, and completed it. I shit you not. I think with a very early walkthrough after I got started from GameFAQs, and I couldn't understand what was going on, but I enjoyed the shit out of it. So it was a no-brainer when the US version got released. I bought that, and then enjoyed it obviously more so because it was the same amazing game and controls and story and stuff like that, but I could actually understand what the fuck was going on, and it was its rewards and stuff like if you got somewhere too quickly, a character didn't get to fully change and stuff like that, and you could surprise guards, and then I unlocked the bandana, which you would put on for infinite ammunition. I unlocked the stealth suit so you could run around like the Predator, so I need to find this memory card because it's got the Resident Evil 2 shit on as well. That was so much fun, the stealth suit. And then the tuxedo, so you could basically, fulfill all your James Bond, wet dreams, which again was a brilliant, insight into, Hideo, because it was like, well, come on, this is clearly influenced by Bond, and at some point people, would love to run around pretending they really are James Bond in this game, knowing full well that you're not. So this, Metal Gear Solid is, like I said, bold cool. It's not only my favourite PlayStation 1 game of all times, it's my favourite game of all times, and that's this version. So yeah, that's my favourite PlayStation 1 games of all time. This was a really, really difficult list to make, and as I said, it'll make sense more so if you try and sit down and do it, because like I said, the impact of a game over its predecessor and tweaks here and new things that they found out to do with the hardware that then introduced at a certain point that may not be better than what they were down the road, but were a whole bunch better than beforehand. It's little things like that. You don't realise how much a game affects you, and it might not be because it's the best game in the world. Anyway, yeah, this was a really difficult list, but once again it was so much fun to make. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later.